Hi YouTube, and welcome back to all my boredom busters. I am your host Brad Claybaugh, and this is Brad's Boredom Busters, your textile art channel. This is the channel where we have fun with fabric. Alright, so you are back for part 2 of our bleach painting pinstripe drawing of a tiki on the back of a hoodie. And so if you remember, I said that the first video was getting a little bit long and I figured it was a good time to break it. We had finished doing the layout drawing, and so now in this video we're going to go back to the work table and apply the bleach with a beveled brush, creating our pinstripe tiki on the back of the hoodie. So before we get started on our project, if you like what you see, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so, and don't forget to ring that notification so you don't miss any upcoming projects. And hey, if you really want to support my channel, I'd really appreciate you going to my Buy Me a Coffee page and buy me a coffee. It's a simple little donation, and it really helps me out. I would appreciate it. All right, let's get over to the work table and start applying the bleach and creating our pinstripe tiki. Okay, so that's the layout. So we can start bleach painting this. So as I said before, it's a mixture of 50% bleach and 50% water. Use a synthetic brush so the bristles don't dissolve in the bleach. I'll go mix up my mixture, and I suggest putting it in a little glass bowl, and that way the caustic bleach won't dissolve like any plastics or anything that you have. So I recommend putting it in a glass bowl, and then that way you can also, when you dip the brush in, you can wipe off the excess on the edge of the bowl. That's what I did with my earlier shirts, and it worked out really well. So that's what I'm going to do with this project as well. Okay, I'll be right back. Alright busters, I've got my bleach mixture made up in my glass container. I've got the synthetic brushes, and I'm using one of the tapered brushes, and this one out of this kit is a number 6. I believe it's the same one that I used on one of my previous projects. It worked out really well. Having the taper on it kind of really helps you pull a straight line. So that's what I'm going to use again on this project. And so I'll get into this. I'll start kind of up in this corner and work my way down, so I'm not putting my hand over any of the wet bleach, so that way I don't accidentally drag it over part of the fabric that I do not want to have bleached. All right, so, and as I said, you can dip into the bowl, wipe off the excess on the edge, and because you're just doing it with a brush, it's really not that bad, at least I don't think, for the odor. But if it does seem to bother, more sensitive individuals, I mean, if you have it diluted down, like say 50-50, it shouldn't smell too bad. But you could still wear, some sort of mask, and any kind of filtration mask or respirator. I know if you are to do any kind of bleach painting with an airbrush where you're creating the bleach and water to be aerosol and atomized, then you definitely want to wear a respirator. But at least personally for me, I don't find any issue applying the bleach water with a brush. It doesn't seem to bother me, but like I say, some more sensitive individuals it might. So just deal with your own safety accordingly. Don't take any risks. You don't want to get sick from fumes, but like I say, with the 50-50 mixture, I don't find that there are very many fumes from it. So if anything, just work in a well-ventilated area, open up a window, or open up a door and have a fan blowing across, so that would help too. All right, let's get on with the project. And I know I'm right-handed and my camera is at my right side, so some of this you might not be able to see until I move my hand, and it takes a little while for the bleach to affect the fabric anyway, so the change in color won't happen immediately, but you'll see it happen. And like I say, I'll probably speed through this, and so in a sped up time frame you'll see the change. All right, enjoy the music. All right, that's all I'm going to do with the chisel brush. Now I'm going to change over to a filbert. All right, because with the filbert I'll do the dots, and I'm going to do some of the details that are going to be actually solid. So Busters, I decided to actually go back to the beveled brush even for these solid areas, because it seems like I'm carrying a little bit more of the bleach mixture in this brush, and it's a little easier to control going down. So that's what I'm doing. I say it's a lot of times it's just trial and error, experiment, and you see what works for you. There is no right or wrong. I mean, what works for me may not be exactly what's comfortable for someone else. And while I'm finishing up just some of these solid details, Let me talk to you a little bit also about just what I've been doing. So you notice in a few areas like here, some of these points, they kind of bled out. That happens, well, two things. You may have too much bleach in your brush at that point, but it's when you put the brush down, you have to move right away. If you stop and linger too long, then the bleach has a chance to come out and just make a puddle in that one little area. So it happens, I mean, it happens to me, especially in the beginning. When you kind of get, into a rhythm, you can see almost this bottom half is a little bit cleaner than the top half. So it's like, yeah, once you get into a rhythm, then you get, your lines a bit cleaner. But that's kind of the nature of bleach painting also. I mean, you're going to get little bits of blobs here and there. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect. Like I always say, this is just supposed to have fun with fabric. Don't stress over it. Do the best you can. And like I say, enjoy the process. Enjoy the results. We're not painting the Sistine Chapel. It's just for fun. As I can tell already, I'm going to have a little bit of a blob down at the bottom of this detail here. That's the other thing at this point. Seeing the bleach has been down long enough to actually do its job. You can see kind of areas that need to be made darker, so you can go over it a second time or a third time, whatever it is. Also, if you have lines that might not be as straight or if they're kind of just not quite right, at this point it's good to go over them again. Then the line may end up being a little bit heavier, but then it'll be more solid that way also. So I mean, it's nice to try to keep the lines consistent all the way through, but on a big project like this, that's not always possible. Okay, I think that's it. Alright, Busters, so that's my Tiki pinstripe on a black hoodie. So now what I'll do with it, if you haven't worked with bleach before, the next step in the process is neutralizing the bleach. And there's two different materials that you can use to do that. You can either use hydrogen peroxide or baking soda. I prefer baking soda only because it's a bit cheaper, and I used to work in a gas station when I was in high school, and when we'd clean battery connections that had a lot of corrosion and stuff around it, you always use baking soda and water. That creates a neutral pH. So the bleach is caustic, and so by soaking this in water, I'll take this and put it out in my laundry sink, and then I'll just sprinkle a ample amount of baking soda in the water and agitate it, and then that way the baking soda neutralizes the caustic nature of the bleach, makes it a neutral pH, and that way it won't eat through the fabric. If you just leave it alone, there is a chance to get holes in the fabric. So after I soak it for about 15 minutes in the baking soda, then I'll just take it out and it'll go in the laundry, and then we'll come back and do a reveal. I'll show you what it looks like after it's been washed and dried. All right, we'll see you later. All right, all my Buster buddies, so here's the finished Tiki Pinstripe. Hey, I always want to be kind of upfront and just let you know what goes on behind the scenes too. I was about ready to start the camera and do the reveal on this, and I noticed that I was missing this line here. Did the whole thing, got it all drawn out, but I looked and this was blank. And then also it was a little pale underneath here. So I added that line a little bit more on this, which meant I had to go back to the laundry sink to neutralize it, rinse that off, stuck it in the washer to just spin out the excess moisture, and then stuck it in the dryer before I could bring it back to the table and do a reveal, because I wanted it to be complete. And so now it is. Anyway, it came out really good. We have a few little, excess blowouts here for too much bleach, but that happens. Like I say, you just got to be careful. Like I say, in the beginning, you might be a little heavy-handed. You get the feel for it, by the time you get further into it, because you can see I don't have any of those problems really down here. All the excess bleach blobs are up at the top when I was just kind of getting into the rhythm of it all. But overall, it came out really cool. And so, hey, give this a try. It's a lot of fun. It's not real hard. You just have to take your time and do the layouts and be patient with it. And in the future, I'm probably going to revisit this hoodie, because I've got an idea for doing a little bit of a detail along the bottom hem, and that'll be down the road. But yeah, we'll come back to this in the future. I've got some ideas I want to try. All right, let's head over to the desk and we'll wrap this up. All right, all my Buster buddies, I hope you enjoyed that project. I think that Tiki came out really bitchin' cool. I can't wait to wear that hoodie when the weather permits. Anyway, if you really like this project, give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. We have a lot of interesting content still to come. And don't forget to ring that notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming projects. And if you really like this content and want to see more of it, please help me out by going to my Buy Me a Coffee page and buy me a coffee. That really helps me out as well, because I do all this on my own. All right, folks, I'm glad you really like this, and I'm glad that you're watching. Come back for our next project. Hey, peace out, baby, and go bust out some art.